Welcome to our video on the Sefton Youth Voice and Participation Toolkit. This video on Toolkit has been produced by Sefton Young Advisors. Sefton Young Advisors are a group of young people aged 15 to 22 who live or attend education in Sefton. Young Advisors are paid and trained professional young people employed by Sefton CVS to work with communities to ensure that young people are involved and considered in decision-making.
In 2022, Sefton Young Advisors updated the Youth Voice and Participation Toolkit. It was agreed at the Children and Young People Partnership Board that a new Youth Voice liaison group was to be set up. One of the first actions from this group was to update the 2015 version of the toolkit to bring it up to date.
Within this video, we want you to use the time to reflect on your own project or organisation. To do this, we are going to start with a short activity of 4 questions, and you may find it useful to write down your thoughts. Feel free to pause this video between questions or at the end of the questions to gather your answers. Question 1. How will Youth Voice benefit your project or organisation? Question 2. What will you get from Youth Voice that you may not get from adult input? Question 3. How will you use the voice captured in your project? Question 4. Why is it important to you to engage with young people?
Lots of people would like to engage with young people in a project for various different reasons, but this needs to be in a way that is engaging and benefiting for both the project and young people. On the screen we have a few examples of what participation is and what it is not. On the left we have a few examples of what participation is, including sharing opportunities with those affected by them, a basic right, a choice for each young person who is involved, and an opportunity for everyone involved to develop skills, knowledge and ideas. On the right, participation is not always formal, ticking the box to impress Ofsted or help secure funding, and it is not an added extra to work with children and young people. We hope this will help when gathering Youth Voice for your project.
Now we have spoken about what participation is and is not, we will now discuss some of the benefits of participation for children and young people. There are many more benefits to participation than we have here, but here are a few examples. Children and young people can build on existing skills and develop new ones. Children and young people can have a say in shaping their own lives. Children and young people are seen as and are valued citizens. Children and young people can get services that meet their changing needs and hopes.
There are also a lot of benefits to participation for organisations and services, including demonstrating a commitment in line with the United Nations Convention on the Rights of a Child. Services will be designed, delivered and evaluated based off actual wants and needs, making the best usage of limited resources, and supporting social mobility and empowering young people to get involved.
We are now going to talk about the 4 key principles of participation. We think it is important to remember this when engaging with children and young people. Number 1, children and young people have equal opportunity to be involved. Number 2, children and young people are valued and taken seriously. Number 3, the involvement of children and young people is monitored, evaluated, reported and improved. Number 4, the involvement of children and a visible commitment.
For the next part of this video, we are going to be discussing the ladder of participation created by Roger Hart. As you can see on the screen, there are 8 steps to the ladder. The first 3 steps of this ladder are classed as non-participation, and it is important to steer away from these methods as they are not recommended when working with children and young people. Manipulation, decoration and tokenism are highlighted in red, and examples of this could be using children and young people for photo opportunities or as a tick box exercise. Moving up the ladder to steps 4 and 5, which are highlighted in orange. Step 4 is assigned but informed, which relates to young people knowing about a project and knowing who made the decisions about it. Step 5, consulted and informed. This engagement is run by adults, but young people understand the process and their opinions are taken seriously. For example, providing feedback on work before it is published. Steps 6, 7 and 8 are highlighted in green and are towards the top of the ladder. Step 6. adult-initiated sharing decisions with young people, in which adults and young people share decision-making, but the process is begun by adults. Step 7. Young people lead and initiate action. This is young people initiating projects themselves. Adults may assist the young people, but don't manage or interfere. Step 8. Young people and adults share decision-making, which is when young people are empowered to have an impact on how a project is run in areas such as recruitment, policies and practices within a project. While Step 8 may be at the top of the ladder, it is not always the most appropriate method when working with certain projects for young people, so consider what approaches are best for both you and the participants.
Now it's time for another activity. Again, you may find it useful to have a pen and paper or something to gather your thoughts, and to pause the video in between or at the end of the questions to answer. Now you have heard about the ladder of participation, we want you to think about your own project. On the screen we have 3 questions we would like you to answer, thinking about your own work. Question 1. What level do you think your project is working at currently? Question 2. Are you able to involve young people more in the decision making? Question 3. How can this be achieved?
Now we have spoken about why it's important to engage and move up the ladder of participation. We are now going to give us some examples and ideas of why and how you can engage with young people.
It is important to share ideas and information with young people. This will open up conversations, you can receive feedback and look at how things can change. Also, young people can bring fresh eyes to the table and see things from an alternative perspective. This can be done by community events. We would recommend having a space that young people feel comfortable in, and by having "you said, we did" activities, as it's very important to close the feedback loop. Sharing views and experience allows children and young people to share their experiences of using service, explore aspirations, potential barriers, and share ideas for change. This is because a young person's experience of a service is probably different from an adult's perspective. To do this, we recommend informal and fun focus groups, forums and consultations, giving information to young people before the meeting and making sure they feel comfortable and not judged. Sharing decision making with young people allows them to be involved in designing and reviewing strategies and plans. This can be done by co-production groups involving young people in the recruitment and commissioning. Sharing leadership with young people is important, as young people are experts in what is important to them through lived experience. Young people will also know when they have been taken seriously. When inviting young people to formal meetings, we recommend ensuring that young people have access to all the tools they need to be involved, so that they feel welcome and have the opportunity to give their opinion in a safe environment.
As part of the Toolkit, a participation checklist has been developed to help you self-assess youth voice and participation, whether that be in your own service, one you are using, have used or plan to use, and to help you develop better youth voice and participation. In addition to assessing services, it can also be a useful tool to plan improvements and changes. The checklist is coded into 3 sections: now, soon and later. Now, which is highlighted in green, is for something currently in place. Soon, which is represented by orange, for something that you plan to develop in the immediate future. And finally later, shown in red, which is something you don't currently have plans for, but can consider in future development. You can scan the QR code on the screen to access the checklist and download it. This would be a good activity to use at a team meeting to self-assess your project. The checklist has been organised into 5 categories to enable you to assess strengths and weaknesses and to provide a clearer roadmap for improvement.
Thank you for watching our video. We hope you found it useful. For more information, or if you have any questions, please contact Sefton Young Advisors by emailing young.advisors@seftoncvs.org.uk.